how would you define commitment?
In my own words, I would say commitment is level of trust, loyalty, and also it would have to be not giving up on the person, as well as like having faith in them, and to be able to pick them up when they're down as well. There's a lot of other words or terms that I could use, but those are the only things that mainly come to my mind.
Is it hard to be committed to someone like
Uh,
me?
if you love somebody through thick and thin, you're gonna stay with them no matter what. Relationships are about ups and downs, like I was just mentioning. So there's gonna be times where everything is going great. There's gonna be times, where everything seems like it's falling apart. But
Yes.
that is the greatest thing about a relationship, because you're gonna go through trials and tribulations. So you're supposed to be able to make sure that you can make things work. No matter what the circumstances is, that's what a relationship is about. And a relationship is a step back before you get married, because marriage is a lot worse than a relationship. So if you can be in a relationship and be with that person that you love for about 4 or 5 years, then that's when you start thinking, okay, well, I can get married, but you don't never want to hop into a marriage being with somebody for a short period of time, because usually that doesn't work out too well.
When we talk about relationships, and I think about how we, first met each other and everything, it's like I was kind of like skeptical in meeting you and allowing you to move in with me, because, with my past relationships, it was really hard to be with someone and to be committed to someone who doesn't really value you, who doesn't really understand you, and but when we first met each other, it was like it was a new feeling. It was like a different feeling that I've never felt before. And like you said, relationships are never easy. It's never easy. And we bumped heads a couple of times. We have our disagreements. Sometimes we go back and forth, and you have your own opinion, I have my own opinion, but then at the end of the day, we always, find a common ground, and we always work together.
Well, like I said, that's the beauty of a relationship, because like I said, you doesn't matter what the situation is or the circumstance, there's gonna be disagreements, there's gonna be arguments, you'll wake up moody sometimes, it happens both ways. I'm speaking on my behalf too, sometimes I may wake up a little startled or a little upset or whatever the situation is, and later throughout the day, things change. It's about the effort that you put into a relationship. And you were speaking about when we first met each other, I was put in a big predicament, just like you was put in a predicament, because she already had a child already. So, when I first started talking to her, and, when she mentioned, to come, at first it was to just come visit, we were going to make trips to come see each other, and I lived in New York, Albany, and she lived in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yes,
At that time, her child was 3. So,
Coming out of a bad relationship.
so she had already experienced some things, and might have been still holding it with her, or however, or trying to overcome it slowly. I do feel like we might have rushed into things, but however the circumstances is, we still made things work. We got
I
through
think
things.
we kind of did, babe. I think
You
we
know?
kind of moved a little too fast, because like we was talking for how long before we decided to move in
We're talking
together?
for about 2 years, almost.
No.
Yes, it was. It was
It was
off and
less
on.
than a year.
No, it wasn't. It was off and on about 2 years.
No, I'm talking about when we was FaceTiming.
Yeah, that was about a year going on 2. Yeah, it was. We
Well,
talked to each other for a while.
I thought it was like over 6 months.
No, even if it was 6 months, that's still almost a year. There's 12 months in a year.
Yes, and like I didn't really do long distance relationships, because number one, How can you trust someone who's living in another state and you don't know what they're doing? You don't know who they're talking to. You don't know who they're hanging around with. It's really hard for me to trust someone. It's really hard for me to trust someone because all of the things that I've gone through with my past relationships, and I don't want to bring my past mistakes into a new relationship because that's bringing some of my baggages that I've been carrying from the past, you know. And I think that being in a committed relationship with someone is all about healing as well, making sure that we're both healing, making sure that we're both not bringing in that baggage from our last relationship into this relationship, because we are supposed to help each other grow.
Well, see, I disagree with my wife, people. I disagree.
Why do you disagree?
Because when you talk to somebody or when you first meet somebody and you start talking to them, trying to, get to know the person, as we call it, that's what the terms that we use. You are trying to, learn more about the person, make sure that they are fit for you. Now, the reason why I disagree with you is because when you're in a relationship or a friendship, whatever kind of relationship it is, you have to love the person or take the person as they come. Like I said, when we first started talking, you had a child
But
already.
we wasn't in love.
That doesn't,
when we first
and
met.
love doesn't mean anything to do about the situation.
We just met each other.
And that's okay.
How can you fall in love with someone that fast?
You have to learn and talk and build and spend time with the person.
And that's why you have to do that when you're physically with someone, long distance. Long distance, you can chat and video chat all day.
It's easier.
But that's not getting to know somebody. You have to physically see each other.
Getting to know someone is getting to know someone. And that's where, once again, you're wrong. And a lot of other people will see two sides of the story, because when you're talking to someone, it doesn't matter if you're with them or not. Talking to somebody over the phone or over a video is still putting in effort and putting in time to talk to the person. You don't have to be with the person just to love someone or to show them affection or just to try to, talk to them. Some people are so busy, that a phone call is all they can manage out of their day. Not everybody's going to be able to come to your attention or come to you when you want them to, so you have to be precious and of the time that you get with the people, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you could have been doing things, I could have been doing things, but it's harder to try to spend time with somebody over the phone or talk to somebody over the phone than us just being together. It's easier when you're here with the person. It's a challenge when they're in Africa or Jamaica, wherever you want to. That's what the beauty of it is, because if you ask a lot of people about being in a relationship, everybody's going to have their point of view. Everybody's going to have, agreements and disagreements.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So what made you want to come down here to see me?
I wanted to change the scenery because of the place.
So that was your
where
main...
I was at. No, the place of where I was at, I wanted to get away from it, but I didn't plan on staying in Tennessee.
So you was looking for an escape?
No, it's not an escape. I was looking for...
Or were you actually looking for love?
I was looking for a change of scenery, and I was looking for the woman of my life so I can be calling her my wife, because I was 24 at the time, about to be 25, or actually 23, about to be turning 24 at the time. Mm-hmm. And I was already in a situation in my mindset that I was already ready to settle down. I wanted to try to have a child myself, because I didn't have no kids when I met her. That's the thing that I'm trying to explain to you. I didn't have no kids. You had a child already. So for me to come in, you opened your arms and allowed me to come in your home, but however, you still had a baggage just like I had a baggage, because you had a child. You know, a child is not an easy responsibility. I don't care who you are. A child is not an easy responsibility. And for a man to not have a child at all, you know, and to come into your home and to be taking care of your child and to be taking care of you, that's a heck of a job, because most men don't do that. I can tell you no man really does stuff like that. The percentage of that is really low. And I'm talking about 25%, if even that. Most men don't do that. Most men just come and do what they have to do and then they leave, is what most men do. So like, that's why I try to say a relationship, there's a lot of things that unfold within that term. And like you said, baggage, you know, yeah, everybody is healing.
It wasn't always easy when, you know, when we finally moved in with each other. Everything was good at one point, but then it started to turn left. It started to get a little bit rocky because I had to find out some things that you were doing behind my back, you know, and I wasn't like happy, you know, I wasn't really excited about some of the things that you were doing to me. And what I wanted to ask you was, what is some of the mistakes that you have admitted doing?
I have talked to another female, but like I said, you know, I'm trying to explain to my wife a difference of when you're being single.
Why did you?
Because you told me it wasn't cheating, so you need to rephrase that.
It is cheating. When you're talking to another female, that's always...
If we are not together, this is a great topic.
We're still living together.
But that doesn't mean that we were together.
Living in the same roof.
You can live under the same roof with somebody and still
That's still cheating.
No, it's not.
Because
It's not. And that's why I'm glad that you're trying to have this conversation. Because just because you're living under the same house with somebody, and if you were the one that said you were single, and you did that multiple times and threw it at my face and said that you were single.
Just because I said I'm single doesn't mean it's actually true.
You're the one saying it.
Sometimes a woman will say things but don't actually mean it.
Well,
you know, but you take it like... You take it and you run with it, and you think that it's okay for you to cheat. You think it's okay for you to have a past and do what you want to do without communicating with me. And that's why I tell you, communication is very important when you are in a relationship with someone. But I feel like you fail in that area. You don't really communicate to me as much.
If communication is so key, then why didn't you tell me that you were just saying things to say things? Because yeah, I agree with you, women and men just say things out of anger or whatever the situation is, but that's not my place